everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So today we're talking about Mew VMAX for NAIC. Mew VMAX has two different variants that are pretty popular right now. It is the Mew VMAX Fusion Strike version and the Mew VMAX DTE version. It's kind of up to you which one you want to play. It's still early in the format. We don't know which one is better, but what we can say is there's a huge Japanese tournament. It's pretty much their equivalent to their nationals. It was the Japan Championship 2023. It had 1963 players and it was won by Mew VMAX with Meloetta and Ice Cube. And I think it's very important to note this because the list that we're going to see here in a second from Trainer Hero actually don't include Ice Cube. It doesn't seem like it's that popular right now from what I gathered on Trainer Hero, unless I'm doing something wrong. But Mew VMAX 4-3 Mew with the Genesect, Meloetta, and the Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube is pretty cool. It says this attack does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each Fusion Strike energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So this can snipe down the Spiritombs that are on your opponent's bench and be good to go. Also, what this can do as well is it can snipe down Baxcaliburs on the bench against Chien-Pao decks. That is something to point out as well. So that is very something cool that you could do with this deck. So yeah, keep those in mind. Those are things that you could do. And remember, Mew can copy Ice Cube, so your Ice Cube doesn't get knocked out. But what this build has that the Fusion Strike, or the non-Fusion Strike build has, is it has Fusion Strike energies. Now this is pretty important because as long as cards attach to Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, provides one energy at a time. But you prevent all effects of your opponent's Pokemon's abilities done to Pokemon's cards attached to. And this means that if you put a Fusion Strike energy on a Genesect V, it still works under Spiritomb. So Spiritomb is a big deal. You put Fusion Strike energies on your Genesects and you're good to go. Now, what this deck also has the capability of doing is getting that turn 1 Meloetta. So you could get the turn 1 Meloetta, power up, and get that turn 1 Melodious Echo and take a huge knockout. And that's one of the advantages of this deck. So the two big things are your Fusion Strike energy onto Genesect, so you can use Fusion Strike systems. And then also you can put Fusion Strike energy on Meloetta, get the turn 1 knockout. Now, new cards that we have with this deck are going to be the Iona. Now, Iona's, I think it's way more punishing than Roxanne, because Iona you can use whenever you want to, right? Roxanne had those limitations, right? But with Iona, you also can put your hand down to low hand size too, and then be able to Genesect to draw more cards, which is pretty cool. Outside of that, everything's pretty much similar that we've kind of seen, right? Cleansing Gloves are for, you know, the Gardevoir decks, so you get Psychic Pokemon for 30 more additional damage. Choice Belts in there do more damage to Pokemon V. Force Still Stun, find a card in your deck. So yeah, this is what we usually see, right? So this is pretty normal stuff that we see. Chromatic, got the Nest Ball, Lost Vacuums, debunk the Path to Peaks. Lost Cities in here is against good old Lost Zone, so you have a better chance against that. Against Spiritomb, not Spiritomb decks, against I guess you could use the Spiritomb, but against like Sableye stuff like that, you can Lost City them into the Lost Zone, and then you're good to go. But let's start looking at Trainer Heal. Let's get shout out to Trainer Heal for this information. Now, this has 139 decks, and I don't know if this, I don't know if there's a way to like include only new lists or something from the new set. But what we see here is kind of what we just saw a second ago. You know, got the Mew. So this is 51 cards. So you have a very, very wide range of cards you could change. Now, the one judge, I'll definitely advocate to change that to the Iono, right? 3-4 Zone seems pretty much the standard, right? 93% of time they're playing 3-4-3. So 4-3 is very common. 1 Meloetta. 4 Genesect, that's pretty much common. The next card that's debating right now is, do you play the Deoxys? Do you play the Oricorio? Do you play the Ice Cube? There's other different, you know, those are the three main ones that you could play outside the Meloetta. VIP Pass, Chromatic, pretty much staple in all these decks. Power Tablets, and we see one Switch Cart and one is a 2 Escape Rope. So, but I think usually 2-2 is like what I would prefer. Like I said, Lost City is for good old Lost Zone, so you can Lost Zone their Sableye, stuff like that. And on the right, we see some cards that you could include. I think Cleansing Gloves is definitely a good inclusion. Against Gardevoir, you have the, you know, the extra damage to get that one shot. The Feather Ball is really nice to find the Pokemon for retreat. So you can find Mew VMAX. I remember at one point people were there was like rumors people cutting all their Nest Balls and playing only Feather Balls, which is kind of interesting. Hisuian Heavball. Now Hisuian Heavball is pretty interesting in Mew because it does let you find your one of attackers, and we don't see this list at one play it. But I think it might be a good inclusion in the Fusion build because you want to be able to fish out your Meloetta or your Ice Cube if need be. So I think Hisuian Heavball is a very good card in this deck that is not played as much as you see from the graph. I think Student Handballs definitely is what we should be playing. But besides that, it's pretty much the standard Mew deck that we've seen for fusion builds that we it's pretty much the same. Now here is the non-fusion build, just a double turbo version. Now, the first thing to note is this list actually doesn't play any Silene, so I don't know where this data is gathered from, because I think Silene is definitely the best choice. Also, once again, we see Judge being played, and I think Judge is still good, but I think Iona is definitely needed in this deck. This deck does also have a chance of playing Avery. I think Avery is a good card right now, especially with like Baxcalibur and Guardian and stuff like that, because take a knockout whereas Avery is really good. Now the problem with Mew VMAX right now, and I'll tell you that, if you hit a Spiritomb with this deck list, you have a very good shot of just losing because you can't use Genesect anymore. You have to be able to have like the boss orders to knock out the Spiritomb on the bench. So make sure you have like some way of doing that, because if not, you're gonna be trouble. And you definitely are cutting the rock sand for Iono. We already talked about that, but I think it's definitely the good thing to do. Choice Belt, I definitely advocate putting a Cleansing Gloves in there. Echoing Horn's also a really good card. Once again, this is only 54 cards, so you have like 6 more outs you could play. I don't know if Oricorio is needed. The damage reduction is pretty cute, but is it needed? I don't know. Hussein Handball, I don't think it's as much needed in this list as the fusion build, because like I said, you're not trying to fish out attackers and stuff like that. This one is the heavy path to the peak build, which is great. To shut down a bunch of Pokemon. So if you get like Peak plus Judge plus Iona or whatever, then you're a really good spot. Plus 4 Vacuum. So I think if you don't expect Spiritomb, then definitely this is like the best version. But if you're playing a bunch of Spiritombs, I think this is the version you want to play, because you can, put the Fusion Strike on the Genesect and make it go. And I think this version has a better chance against this version as well too. You don't have the Donker potential like you do with this deck and with this one. Like if this one goes second, like cool. I could hypothetically give this Sparkle knockout turn 1, while this one you're like, okay, we're cruising, we're just doing our thing. But I don't know. I don't know if Spiritomb's going to be big. That's the question. Is Spiritomb going to be played? The only lists that played it so far with me are my Arceus decks. That's because usually you have a bad matchup. But the deck I'm playing is Lugia, so I don't really need Spiritomb for that matchup. So I don't know. Spiritomb is definitely a iffy card right now. Like, should you play it? Should you not play it? This one plays Switch and no Switch card. While this one does play Switch card, it's interesting. Like, which one's better, Switch card or Switch? Because this plays Switch. This plays Switch card. So, like, which one do you play? I don't know. I don't know. I see the advantage of both, but with like, I don't think there's any paralyzation. Then I say that, then of course people play it and then they get in trouble. But like, Switch can get out all your Pokemon, while this is only like basic Pokemon. So like, Switch does help out against like paralyzation decks. So that's different, like another debate kind of thing that goes on. Oh, Switch card right there. So like, there's a Switch and Switch card. So kind of there. But like I said, I do like the Avery. Serena, I don't think is needed. I think I'd rather play like more boss orders, if anything. This only plays 2. I think I would probably play 3. Just like, so you always have the answer, right? Palpat's still in here. Silene is not in here either, and it's not in the other common cards. Silene is definitely an interesting inclusion because it gets back your double turbos and power tablets. So I think Silene might be a card that you would include in this deck. I understand people not want to play and stuff like that, but if you're playing like, 18 rounds. You're going to play 18 rounds if you make it to the finals of the championships, right? Because you play 9 day 1, 6 plus 3. Yeah, so you play like 18 rounds all together. And like, out of those 18 rounds, you don't think you'll need Silene? I guess you're good at like, managing your resource stuff. But, I don't know. But yeah, this is a quick breakdown of Mew. Mew, Single Strike, not Single Strike, Fusion Strike versus, just a regular DTE version. Zora is getting up from her little nap, so we're about to go get Zora some lunch. And yeah, I hope you lunch with the new. Mew is in an interesting spot. Like I said, Spiritomb or not Spiritomb, do you think it'll be played or not? Zora, thank you, Zora. So yeah, that's my question of the day. Will Spiritomb be played, yes or no? Alright, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. Like I said, this is the Japanese list that did win, so take note of this. Test this list out. Seems pretty good. And we'll see you tomorrow when we talk about Arceus. And Arceus is a lot. It's a lot. We're about to talk about a lot of stuff with Arceus. Alrighty, guys. Bye.